Imagine this, my friend. The world has been destroyed by demons, and you're the last person alive. You fight your way to the Demon King, behead him, and end the war, only to find yourself standing alone among the bodies of your family and friends. Victory means nothing anymore. As Kyle takes his final breath, he notices a mysterious magic stone in his hand. The moment he touches it, he wakes up 4 years in the past, inside his younger body, with every memory of the coming disaster still intact. Can he change the future? That's exactly what happened to our friend Kyle. Long ago, humans defeated the demons, bringing years of peace. But after the Demon King died, another demon claimed the throne, declared war, and destroyed every human kingdom. While the war raged on, the Demon King remained inside his castle. The humans sent a suicide squad to assassinate him, with Kyle as its leader. However, the castle was filled with demons. When a group of demons blocked their path, Theron told Kyle, "Keep going, I'll stop them." Knowing his friend was sacrificing himself, Kyle moved on while Theron faced the demons alone. Meanwhile, Kyle and Urza reached the Demon King's chamber, where they found only a magic stone. Suddenly, a massive wave of demonic power descended toward Kyle. Urza jumped in front of him to protect him, but the attack was too powerful. She gave Kyle one final look before dying in front of him. After losing every member of his team, Kyle was overwhelmed with grief. At that moment, the Demon King appeared. Both drew their swords and clashed. Driven only by rage, Kyle blocked every attack before striking the Demon King, but his slash had no effect. The Demon King retaliated with his sword in a barrage of energy orbs that devastated the area. Although Kyle was hit directly, he refused to fall. "I have to release the power sealed inside the magic stone in my sword." The moment he released it, his magic power skyrocketed. As the Demon King realized Kyle had become a real threat, he launched another spell, but Kyle blocked it and charged forward. With a single strike, Kyle shattered the Demon King's sword and drove his own blade through his stomach. The Demon King was immobilized, but the magic stone inside Kyle's sword shattered as well. Moments later, the Demon King died. The war is finally over. Looking at everyone who had fallen beside him, Kyle whispered, "I'm the only survivor." Having exhausted all his strength, he collapsed. Suddenly, another magic stone began glowing nearby. Thinking it might explode, he grabbed it, but a magic circle appeared beneath him. "What is this?" Kyle suddenly woke up in his own room. "How did I get back here?" Looking outside, he found the kingdom completely untouched. "I must be dreaming. The demons destroyed this kingdom." Just then, Lizzie entered the room. She had died in the future, making Kyle realize he had traveled back in time. She greeted him, but Kyle rushed over, hugged her tightly, and burst into tears, believing it was still a dream. Lizzie pushed him onto the bed. "What's wrong with you?" Then she left. Kyle wondered, "How can this be a dream if I can feel pain?" He lifted the blanket and found another magic stone, different from the one he had touched before. Looking into the mirror, he realized he had no injuries and had become younger. The kingdom is normal. Lizzie is alive. I've really returned to the past. Could this magic stone be the reason? His stomach suddenly growled. Stone or not, I'm starving. He went to the kitchen, where Lizzie had left breakfast, and ate everything. Just then, Theron walked in. "Are you kidding me? You ate everything?" Kyle was stunned because Theron had died protecting him. "This proves I've really returned to the past." Theron asked, "What's wrong?" Kyle replied, "What month is it? And what year?" "It's the 5th month, year 2823. Kyle froze. "Are you sure?" "Of course. It's also your birthday." "Happy birthday, you idiot." Then Theron added, "I'll go get more food." Kyle replied, "I'm going to ask her." With that, he left the house and entered the room with the staircase leading underground. Kyle then entered that place, which turned out to be nothing more than a massive library filled with books from floor to ceiling. There, he found his mother quietly reading a book. The moment he saw her, he remembered the day she died right in front of him. He froze in shock and thought, "Mom, she's still alive." It is worth mentioning that Kyle's mother is the strongest mage in the entire empire, and strangely enough, she looks younger than Kyle himself. Kyle calmed himself and asked, "Have you been here since yesterday?" She replied, "Whenever I open a book, I completely lose track of time." He then asked, "Since you're a mage, is there a spell that can turn time back?" She answered, "Yes, there is, but no one knows how to use it. There are spells that can affect time, but no one can cast them because they require an enormous amount of magic power." Kyle continued, "What if someone used a forbidden ritual?" She replied, "A forbidden ritual would require half of humanity's souls to succeed." She then looked at him curiously and asked, "Where did you learn all of that?" Kyle answered, "I read it in one of the books." She handed him another book and said, If you truly want to travel back through time, there is only one way. You need the heart of the legendary dragon. It is actually a magic stone. Kyle thought to himself, 1,000 years ago the kingdom of Exarls possessed that stone. It remained the greatest kingdom for 500 years, but one day the stone ran out of power. After that, the kingdom was destroyed and eventually fell. He looked at the magic stone in his hand and thought, and now, the stone is with me. So what am I supposed to do? Suddenly his mother said, it's been a long time since we all sat down together. Come on. Lizzie prepared today's meal. Kyle was startled and replied, but I already ate all of it. His mother smiled and said, that's fine. We'll simply make more. Besides, today is your birthday. After that, Kyle sat there thinking, why did this magic stone send me back to the past? Meanwhile, Lizzie walked over to him, and he said, I'm sorry. I finished all the food. She smiled and replied, it's okay. It doesn't matter who ate it. The important thing is celebrating your birthday. At that moment, Kyle remembered the day Lizzie died and thought, that was the day the demons completely destroyed our village. He then declared with determination, this peace will come to an end in 3 years. I'm the only one who can change this future. I won't let any of my family or friends die in front of me ever again. After that, Kyle began training. Using magic, he created an image of the Demon King so he could practice fighting against him. However, the replica was incredibly powerful. Kyle thought, I have to become stronger before the war begins. He charged straight at the replica, but it immediately caught him off guard with a magic spell that blasted him away. Kyle crashed onto the ground and said, I have tremendous magic power, but my current body is still too young to handle it. Meanwhile, Theron and Lizzie were secretly watching him from behind the trees. Theron asked, why is he training so seriously? Lizzie replied, he's been acting strangely lately. Just then, Layla walked over and asked, what are you two doing? Layla is Theron's mother, my friend. She then noticed Kyle's training and said, it's obvious that he's become much stronger. Suddenly, Lizzie grabbed Kyle and shouted, what did you do with the real Kyle? Kyle looked at her in confusion. Have you lost your mind? I am Kyle. But she insisted, no, you're not. For a moment, it seemed she had completely lost her mind. Later, Lizzie prepared him a meal and quietly apologized. Kyle wasn't angry while Theron walked in, amazed by the food. During lunch, Kyle asked, who is the one person every nation listens to? Layla answered, Hero Randolph. He's the one who defeated the Demon King. Kyle left thinking, there's no other way. I have to become a hero if I want every kingdom to listen to me. Layla remarked, he's changed a lot. His mother added, he's been thinking about the future. Later, Kyle was reading when Theron entered. This is the first time I've seen you holding a book. He then asked, do you really want to become a hero? Yes, as soon as possible. It won't be easy. I know, but what does a hero really need? Power. Kyle shook his head. Power alone isn't enough. Then what? Money. Theron laughed. So you'll save people for money? No. Adventures cost money. And fame is what makes people listen. Theron smiled. It sounds like you have another reason. I do. After Theron left, Kyle thought, in 3 years, the demons will invade. I have to save everyone. The next morning, Kyle told Layla he was leaving. She asked if Soraya knew, then told him to take Theron along. Kyle admitted he had planned to ask him anyway. Theron sighed. Are you trying to get rid of me? Before leaving, Kyle told Lizzie he was going on a journey. When she tried to come, he refused. Why Theron? Is he better than me? No. I'm just worried about you. I'll visit you first when I return. She finally agreed and accompanied him to the market. There, Kyle spotted Urza, the same girl who had sacrificed herself for him. Her clan used false names, and anyone who learned a member's true name gained tremendous magical influence over them. Kyle quietly called Axis. Urza froze. How do you know that name? Before she could attack, Kyle cast a spell that instantly knocked her unconscious. Lizzie walked over angrily. At least wait until I leave before flirting with pretty girls. It's not what you think. Kyle brought Urza home. I'm glad to see you again. She demanded, how do you know my real name? Kyle stayed silent. I have to kill you. Lizzie stepped between them. Calm down. Kyle then offered, if you don't trust me, let's make a contract. I'll never reveal or misuse your true name. Urza was shocked he even knew about it. If you break the contract, you'll die. I know. She explained the ritual required the next full moon. We'll have to stay here. I'm leaving tomorrow. Then I'll come with you. The next morning, Kyle departed with Theron and Urza. Lizzie refused to stay behind and joined them as well. Theron welcomed Urza, but she replied coldly, I'm only here because of the contract. Kyle unfolded a map. Our first destination is the Sangard Mountains. Theron frowned. You got scammed. This map is fake. Urza examined it. No, It's a magical map that's over 1,000 years old. Theron immediately believed her. Their goal was a hidden treasure buried there. Lizzie asked, how will we reach it? I have a plan. Instead of taking the main road, Kyle had everyone dig a tunnel. The main road is full of traps. We'd never survive. When Theron asked how he knew, Kyle avoided answering. Urza then asked why he was using an earth dwarf spirit for digging. I can't afford proper equipment. They worked until night, set up camp in the forest, lit a fire, and had bear meat for dinner. After that, Lizzie hunted a bear and cooked it for everyone. Once they finished eating, they continued digging. Looking at the map, Kyle said, we're getting close. Urza asked, where's Theron? He went to rest and hasn't come back yet, Kyle replied. She then asked, why do you want to become a hero, and what's with those 2 rings? Kyle answered, each ring doubles my weight, helping me build endurance. Avoiding the rest of the question, he continued digging. Soon, they reached a wall. Bring Lizzie and Theron. When they arrived, Kyle smashed the wall, revealing a hidden treasure. Theron rushed forward. What is all this treasure? While everyone admired it, Kyle quietly slipped away to a room containing a sword. It was the same sword that had shattered during his battle with the Demon King. The treasure had never been his goal. He had come for the sword. Suddenly, a young girl appeared from the blade. You must be strong to have reached this place. Kyle replied, keep your voice down. I know you. You're Keldonia, the spirit of the Magic Queen. After her death, her soul had been sealed inside the sword. Kyle knew this because he had obtained it once before. Shocked, Seldonia asked, how do you know all this? I'll explain later. You won't be able to pull out the sword. We'll see. She returned to the blade. Kyle grabbed the hilt and effortlessly drew the sword. Seldonia appeared again in disbelief. Did that really happen? You saw my memories, didn't you? I also possessed the legendary dragon's heart. She couldn't believe it. Just then, Kyle's companions arrived. He whispered, pretend I don't know anything. As they entered, Kyle acted surprised. What an incredible sword! I've never seen anything like it. Everyone gathered around. I am the spirit of this sword. Seldonia introduced herself. Lizzie asked, why do you look like a little girl? My age stopped at this stage. She then looked at Kyle. From now on, this sword belongs to you. Theron immediately said, I want to use it too. No? Why? I don't like your face. Lizzie burst into laughter. After leaving the ruins, they headed to the city. Seldonia wandered into every shop carrying food in both hands. Theron sighed. Calm down a little. Soon they entered an equipment shop. I need weapons and equipment, Kyle said. Seldonia asked, do you have any swords forged by Mafia? Of course. The great blacksmith Mafia made them 1,000 years ago. I pointed out every flaw in those swords, and he cried every time. Kyle quickly pulled her away. She's joking. Kyle noticed a suit of armor. That's our finest armor, the shopkeeper said. I'll take it. Turning to Lizzie and Urza, Kyle added, buy whatever you want. Then he asked, show me your magic stones. The shopkeeper showed him an explosion magic stone, then a blizzard magic stone. This one's excellent against monsters, but expensive. Kyle placed a heavy bag of gold on the counter. I'll take every magic stone you have. The shopkeeper was stunned. All of them? Are you preparing for war? After buying everything, Kyle said, we'll stay here tonight and leave tomorrow. I wish you'd told us sooner, Theron complained before exploring the city. Lizzie and Urza did the same. Keldonia pointed toward a restaurant. I'm going there. Kyle stopped her. Wait, I need to talk to you first. The two returned to the hotel. Kyle asked, can I really change the future? Keldonia answered, you returned through one of time's many branches. The Dragonstone created this timeline, so the demon's invasion is inevitable. If someone defeats them, the future can still change. She added, the Dragonstone came from the future, meaning another one already exists in this timeline. And your future power returned with you, but your younger body can't handle it. I noticed that during training, Kyle replied. That night, Urza said to Lizzie, this journey has been fun. I feel like we'll become one team. But I still don't understand Kyle. He always understands me before I even speak. Then she noticed the full moon. Now I can finally make the contract. Meanwhile, Kyle continued training alone. My body is stronger now, but I still have a long way to go. Seldonia appeared and praised Kyle's swordsmanship. If you'd seen how I fought before, you'd know the difference, Kyle replied. This sword has become even deadlier. Of course, it's my spirit sword. Just then, Urza arrived. I came to make the contract. Kyle sighed. I'm exhausted, but let's get it over with. Urza prepared the magic circle only to find Kyle asleep. Seriously? Wake up! The two stepped into the circle. As Urza performed the ritual, Kyle remembered the future they had shared before her death. Urza declared, I am Axis Vero. You will never use my true name for any purpose. Do you agree? I agree. The contract was completed. and a massive surge of magic power shot into the sky. It's finally over. I want to sleep. Instead, Urza blasted him with fire magic, leaving him slightly burned. The next morning, they resumed their journey. You smell burned, Lizzie said. A dragon almost roasted me last night, Kyle joked. He then told Urza, the contract is complete. You can leave now. I'm staying until I learn how you knew my true name, she replied. That's the only reason. Their next destination was Arkan. Seldonia was more excited about the city's food than anything else. Upon arriving, they found crowds waiting for Princess Milena. Theron explained, she's arriving today. When the princess stepped from her carriage, she stopped to help a little girl who had fallen, revealing her kind nature. Kyle noticed the knight beside her. Zentos, back at the hotel, Kyle told Seldonia, in 2 days, a monster will attack Princess Milena. Everyone believed her half-brother planned it to seize the throne. So what's your plan? I'll save her. It'll be my first step toward becoming a hero. Just then, Theron entered. I'll stay close to the princess and save her if anything happens. Kyle immediately lied. Seldonia foresaw the attack. Theron smiled. Perfect. I'll make a good impression. Soon the princess departed with her royal guards while Kyle's group secretly followed. Will she really die? Lizzie asked. Yes. When Urza wondered how they could follow unnoticed, Seldonia transformed into a hawk. I'll watch from above. Everything I see will appear through the magic stone inside the sword. While observing from the sky, Seldonia suddenly warned, something's wrong. Kyle saw the carriage drivers attack the guards and kill one of them. Hurry! They rushed in before the drivers could destroy the carriage. Kyle defeated them without killing them and tied them up. Theron checked the princess. She's alive, but drugged. Stay with her, Kyle replied. There may be another attack. Suddenly, hell wolves surrounded them. Kyle instantly killed one. Why are hell wolves here? Urza shouted. Although Urza and Lizzie fought them off, there were too many. Theron tried to escape with the carriage, but found the reins cut. Then the ground began to shake. Kyle narrowed his eyes. So, it's here. It's getting closer, Seldonia warned. I'll handle the monster. Protect the princess. Kyle rushed ahead while Urza summoned a fire dragon that burned nearly half the wolves. As Kyle approached, Seldonia warned, be careful, I've got this. But a moment later, the eight-headed serpent appeared before him. Its overwhelming presence froze Kyle in place. We have to retreat, Seldonia urged. Kyle quietly replied, it's already too late. Suddenly, the monster charged at Kyle, but he dodged just in time. The eight-headed serpent then filled the area with poisonous gas, causing even the trees to wither. Fortunately, Kyle's armor protected him. He threw an ice magic stone, freezing the monster, then followed with a fire magic stone that triggered a huge explosion. Even so, the beast survived. Kyle rushed forward and cut off one of its heads, but it regenerated instantly. It heals incredibly fast. Meanwhile, Lizzie and Urza defeated nearly half of the hell wolves. I'm worried about Kyle, Urza said. We'll help him after we finish these wolves, Lizzie replied. At the same time, Theron stood before the remaining wolves. I won't let you get near the princess. Kyle attacked again, freezing the monster once more, but it easily shattered the ice. He leaped into the air and severed another head, only for it to regenerate again. It has weakened. This is my chance. Kyle released his full power, pierced the monster's heart with his sword, then shoved a fire magic stone into the wound. The beast struck him, sending him crashing into a tree before charging to finish him. But suddenly, boom, the fire magic stone exploded inside its body, tearing the monster apart. Seldonia smiled. That was an incredible attack. It's all about speed, Kyle replied. Meanwhile, Lizzie and Urza eliminated the remaining hellwolves. When they reached Kyle, he asked, did you finish them all? Urza stared at him. You defeated that monster by yourself? Lizzie covered her nose. What is that horrible smell? It's the monster's corpse, Kyle laughed. He then asked Theron, how's the princess? Still asleep. Inside the carriage, Kyle found the princess and her attendants unconscious. Urza gave the princess a magical antidote, waking her up. Theron then handed Kyle a strange powder. I found this. Kyle examined it. This powder attracted the hell wolves. The carriage drivers wanted them to kill the princess so it would look like an accident. Elsewhere, Zentos, captain of the royal guards, was secretly meeting with the princess's brother, proving they were behind everything. When the princess woke up, she asked, you saved me? I did, Theron proudly answered. Before he could continue, Lizzie knocked him unconscious. Kyle introduced himself. I'm Kyle. We saw you being attacked and came to rescue you. One attendant also woke up, but the princess reassured her. They're our saviors. After thanking them, the princess inspected the battlefield. Just then, Seldonia warned, knights are approaching. We have to leave now, Kyle said. The princess then revealed, the one trying to kill me is Zentos. Kyle was shocked. The princess ordered, Arka, burn all the bodies. Arka erased every trace of evidence. After leaving, Kyle asked, "How did you know Zentos betrayed you?" "My brother planned everything," she replied. "He drugged my drink, but I overheard their conversation. I know my brother wants me dead." She explained that she normally traveled with Commander Kilrin and the powerful 5th Squad, but they had been away on a mission, allowing Zentos to escort her instead. Kyle thought, "Zentos is our enemy now. I'll protect the princess, even if I have to kill him." He warned, "Zentos will accuse us of kidnapping you." "I only need to reach the capital," the princess replied. "After that, everything will be resolved. We'll escort you there." "But we don't need a reward," Kyle answered. She then explained her plan. "Kilrin and the 5th Squad return tomorrow. Once they learn I've disappeared, they'll search for me. When they meet Zentos' knights, they'll realize they've been betrayed." Kyle disagreed. "The knights may defeat them. So we'll return as well and trap the knights between both forces." He then buried several fire magic stones underground as traps. "The knights are almost here," Keldonia warned. "Everything is under control," Kyle replied. Meanwhile, Lizzie handed the princess several potions. "If you're injured, drink one." The princess looked at them in surprise. "Potions? Magic stones? Who are you people? We're just heroes who happened to save you." At the same time, the princess's brother angrily asked Zentos, "How did she escape?" Zentos confidently smiled. "Don't worry, the knights are already chasing her, and they'll bring me her head." Meanwhile, one of the knights shouted, "There's a carriage heading straight toward us." The knights immediately dismounted, took their positions on the ground, and readied their bows for battle. Their commander ordered, "Take them out immediately." Suddenly, the carriage charged toward them at tremendous speed, but to their surprise, it was completely empty. At that exact moment, Seldonia dropped several fire magic stones from above. The knights had no idea what was happening. Then the stones exploded right in the middle of their formation. The commander tried to regroup his men, but Kyle suddenly burst onto the battlefield, driving the carriage straight through them and running them over. At the same time, Urza unleashed a powerful spell that blasted the entire area. Meanwhile, Theron was throwing explosive magic stones like a madman, tossing them around as casually as if he were handing out pieces of chocolate. Inside the carriage, the princess looked at Lizzie and said, "Your team is completely insane." And honestly, she wasn't wrong. In the end, Kyle and his companions managed to eliminate nearly half of the knights before retreating. Theron grinned and said, "We finished them." Then he corrected himself. "Actually, we only took out half of them, but they won't be able to chase us anymore." Suddenly, the carriage shook violently and nearly overturned. Theron climbed down to inspect it and discovered that one of the wheels had been smashed. Kyle sighed. That's only natural after everything that just happened. Just then, Seldonia looked shocked and warned Kyle, 30 knights are heading this way." Kyle immediately replied, "One of us has to stay behind and delay them." Urza objected. "Have you lost your mind? There are 30 knights. One person can't possibly fight all of them." Kyle answered firmly, "We have to save the princess no matter what." He then turned to Theron. "You're the one staying behind." Theron blinked. "Me? Are you trying to get rid of me?" Kyle smiled. "I know you'll defeat them by yourself." Urza then activated a wind magic spell, and the rest of the group quickly left the area. Kyle wasn't abandoning Theron. In the future Kyle came from, Theron had become incredibly powerful, which was why Kyle trusted him completely. A short while later, the knights arrived. "So what did Theron do, my friend?" He raised a white flag and shouted, "I surrender!" What a disappointment. The commander walked over while the other knights surrounded him from every direction. The commander asked, "Do you really think I'll forgive you after everything you've done to us?" Theron immediately began begging. "It wasn't my fault. Kyle is the one who left me behind and ran away. He sacrificed me." The commander didn't respond. From the look on his face, he was ready to execute him. Theron desperately pleaded, "Take everything. Take this money. Just let me live." At that moment, one of the knights informed the commander that the princess wasn't there. The commander immediately ordered, "We're going after them. As for this brat, kill him." Theron panicked. "No, I don't want to die yet." The commander raised his sword to strike. Meanwhile, Urza looked at Kyle and asked, "Aren't you worried about Theron? They're going to kill him." Lizzie calmly replied, "Actually, Theron is stronger than both Kyle and me." It turned out Theron had been acting the entire time just to buy himself a few more moments. Just as the commander was about to kill him, Theron suddenly moved. With a single slash, he cut off the commander's head. At that moment, his true side emerged, and his entire personality changed. Looking at the remaining knights, he coldly said, "The important thing is that the commander is gone. Does anyone else want to join him?" Every knight stood there in complete shock. It was then revealed that Theron had been wearing rings and equipment that doubled the burden on his body during training. He removed them and said, "That's much better." Then he charged straight at them, cutting off the heads of 3 knights with a single swing. He slaughtered them as if they were nothing more than rats. The remaining knights attacked him from every direction, but Theron simply cut them down one after another with his sword. Then he threw a fire magic stone into the middle of them. Boom! A massive explosion engulfed the battlefield. The horses fled in terror from the blast. Theron looked at the survivors and said, "You're all finished." Meanwhile, Kyle said to Urza, "You don't know the real Theron. You haven't seen his other side yet. No one can match his skill with a sword." By then, Theron had already wiped out most of the knights, leaving only 8 alive. He looked at them and sighed. "I'm bored. I've delayed you long enough, and I've already taken out most of you. If anyone wants to run, go ahead." The remaining knights immediately threw down their weapons and fled, realizing that continuing the fight meant certain death. But Theron had no intention of letting them escape. He hurled several fire magic stones after them, causing explosions to erupt all around them. Then he rushed after the survivors and cut them into pieces with his sword. That boy was truly terrifying. Elsewhere, Zentos received word that someone had annihilated the knights. He frowned. Who could have done that? And how? Without wasting another second, Zentos mounted his horse and raced toward the battlefield. Meanwhile, Keldonia warned Kyle, "A knight is heading this way." She had no idea that the approaching knight was actually Zentos. Suddenly, Zentos struck Keldonia, knocking her down. Kyle immediately asked, "What happened?" She answered, "That knight attacked me. I had no choice but to return to my human form." The moment Kyle heard that, he realized exactly who was coming. He turned to his companions and said, "Stay here. Zentos is going to attack us. I'll stop him." The princess warned him, "Be careful. Zentos is incredibly strong." In the middle of the forest, Zentos finally arrived and found Kyle waiting for him. He approached Kyle and asked, "You're the one helping the princess?" Kyle answered without hesitation, "Yeah, that's me." Zentos looked at Kyle and said, "I'm going to kill every one of you, then hang your heads from the kingdom's walls." Kyle calmly replied, "You won't be able to do that. It's better if you surrender. I don't want to kill you." He then asked, "Why are you trying to kill the princess?" Zentos answered, "You're going to die anyway, so there's no point in telling you." Without another word, they both drew their swords and charged at each other, beginning a fierce duel that revealed just how powerful they truly were. Kyle thought to himself, "I know your fighting style better than anyone." He then remembered the days he had trained under him. After all, "You're the one who taught me how to use a sword." In the future, before Kyle traveled back through time, Zentos had been his sword instructor. Of course, Zentos knew nothing about that because those events had not yet happened in this timeline. Suddenly, Zentos rushed toward Kyle, but Kyle blocked his attack. The two continued exchanging blows, yet it was obvious that Zentos had the upper hand. Kyle thought, "His physical strength is incredible." At that very moment, Zentos fired a magic spell at him before immediately charging in with his sword. Kyle dodged the attack, leaped into the air, and threw an explosive magic stone. However, Zentos knocked it right back at him. The stone exploded directly in front of Kyle. He crashed heavily onto the ground. Seeing the opportunity, Zentos rushed in to finish him. But the moment Zentos' sword collided with Kyle's blade, it nearly shattered, forcing him to jump back immediately. He stared at Kyle's weapon and asked, "What kind of sword is that?" Kyle looked at him and said, "I'll say this one last time. Surrender." Kyle truly didn't want to kill him. After all, Zentos had once been his teacher. But Zentos replied, "I'm ending this battle now." He released his full power, making it clear that he intended to finish the fight once and for all. Then he asked, "Tell me your name before I kill you." Kyle answered, "My name is Kyle. Come." The two charged at each other with everything they had. The impact was so powerful that Zentos' sword shattered completely. At the same time, the heart of the legendary dragon slipped out of Kyle's possession. Even after losing his sword, Zentos refused to surrender. He charged forward again, attacking with what remained of the broken blade. Kyle finally delivered a decisive slash. The attack split Zentos' body in half. As Zentos lay on the ground, taking his final breaths, Kyle couldn't hide his sorrow. He had never wanted to kill the man who had once been his master. Zentos looked at him and quietly said, "You're a strong man. Forgive me." With those final words, he passed away. Kyle knelt beside him and cried, "I have to eliminate anyone who stands in my way, so the future never repeats itself. Forgive me, my teacher." Kyle had finally resolved himself to kill anyone if that was what it took to stop the demons from conquering the world. Elsewhere, Prince Carinus was waiting for news of his sister's death. Suddenly, Commander Kilrin entered the room and ordered the soldiers, "Arrest him." Carinus shouted, "Have you lost your mind? I'm the prince." At that very moment, his sister, Princess Milena, walked into the room. She looked at him and said, "How are you, dear brother? Have you really fallen so low that you tried to kill your own sister?" She then ordered the soldiers to throw him into prison. Afterward, the princess stepped outside and found Kyle and his friends waiting there. She sincerely thanked every one of them. Kyle simply replied, "We only did what we had to do." The princess then invited them to the capital and welcomed them into the royal palace as honored guests. Meanwhile, the king, Princess Milena's father, entered the room. After making sure his daughter was safe, she introduced them. "They're the ones who saved me." The king personally thanked them. "It's unfortunate that my own son and Zentos turned out to be traitors, but both of them received the punishment they deserved." He then added, "I also don't want the truth about what happened to become public." Kyle nodded. "Of course, we won't damage the kingdom's reputation." After that, the king announced a completely different story to the public. He claimed that a group of monsters had attacked the princess and that Kyle and his companions had rescued her. Because of that, Kyle successfully changed one of the future's destined events, Princess Milena's death. The king also held a grand celebration to honor the group. When Kyle and his companions entered the hall, the king said, "As a reward for saving the princess, I present you with the kingdom's medal." Just like that, Kyle took his very first step toward becoming a true hero. His name spread across every nation, and his words began carrying influence throughout the world. Elsewhere, King Reminas was sitting alone inside his chamber. He angrily muttered, "How could that useless Zentos and Karinas fail to kill Milena?" It was finally revealed that the king himself had been the true mastermind behind everything. He had wanted his own daughter dead. She was a far better ruler than he was, and he feared that once she became queen, everyone would completely forget about him. Suddenly, a hooded figure entered the room and said, "I hope I'm not interrupting." The king frowned. "Who are you?" The moment he looked more closely, he recognized him. "Yes, my friend." That person was Kyle. Kyle instantly rushed forward and covered the king's mouth before he could call for the guards. Then he said, "In the future, the demons conquered the world. I begged you to help humanity, but you refused, and everyone died." Naturally, the king had no idea what Kyle was talking about because none of those events had happened yet. Kyle carried a deep grudge against him. That was why he had come to take revenge in the past. Kyle dragged him out onto the balcony and said, "You're the one who ordered Zentos to kill the princess. Because of you, I was forced to kill my own teacher." The king coldly replied, "If he had succeeded in killing her, he wouldn't have died." Kyle grabbed him by the head and said, "The princess you're trying to get rid of is 100 times better than you'll ever be. Goodbye, your majesty." Kyle threw the king from the balcony, and news soon spread that he had died under mysterious circumstances. Meanwhile, Urza said, "I can't believe the king threw himself off the balcony." Theron replied, "That doesn't matter anymore. Princess Milena will rule the kingdom now." Later, Milena revealed that she was engaged. She explained, "After the war with the kingdom of Gargan, we signed a peace treaty. To secure it, I had to become engaged to Prince Miser." Kyle nodded. "So it's a political marriage?" "Exactly," Milena replied, "but I want to cancel it. Please deliver this letter to Gargan." Back in his room, Kyle told Seldonia, "I don't know how King Karan will react." She smiled. "Think of it as an opportunity. Your name will spread even further." The next day, Kyle returned with Gargan's reply. Milena then invited him to join the royal guard. "I still have something to finish," Kyle answered, "but if you're ever in danger, I'll return." "It was an honor meeting you," Milena replied. Afterward, Kyle's group left the kingdom. At the weapon shop, the owner congratulated Kyle on receiving the kingdom's medal before handing Theron his repaired sword. When Kyle mentioned they were heading to Karan, the shopkeeper warned, "Be careful, the city is full of gangs." Soon, they reached the mountain city. Keldonia explained, "King Zarls founded this place." Dragon-riding knights carrying Gargan's banner flew overhead. "Let's go," Kyle said. After entering the city, Urza noticed the large number of dwarves. A woman soon approached them. "I'm Ambassador Miranda. Princess Milena sent me." Kyle introduced himself, handed her Milena's letter, and confirmed they wanted to meet the ruler. "That won't be easy," Miranda replied. "He's been ill for a long time." She then led them to meet Gargan's envoys. In short, Milena had sent Kyle and Miranda to stop Karan from siding with Gargan. Since Zergos and Gargan were close to another war, Kyle's role was to mediate between both sides. At the meeting, Miranda encountered Alzard, a mage from Gargan. She thought, "So you came to start a war." Alzard introduced himself and requested an audience with the ruler. Miranda replied, "Karan is under our authority. We should meet him first." Alzard calmly answered, "Karan is an independent city. We have equal rights." Although Miranda wanted to argue, she held back. "Fine, let's go together." Before entering, Alzard turned to Kyle. "Who are you?" "I'm Kyle, Queen Milena's envoy." "I know you, and your mother," Alzard replied. "We studied together." He shook Kyle's hand. "It's a pleasure to meet you." Inside the palace, the ruler's assistant stopped them. "The ruler is too ill to receive visitors," Miranda frowned. "You've been saying that for 2 months." Alzard simply said, Then we'll come back another time. After leaving, Miranda told Kyle, Alzard will do anything to secure an alliance. She then revealed her plan. I'm going to install a new ruler who supports us. Do you already have someone in mind? Kyle asked. Yes, the city's finest blacksmith, Jesus. Meanwhile, Theron searched the market for a new sword. Instead, he found a gang robbing someone. He quickly defeated them, then asked, Are you all right? The young man replied, I'm a man, not a girl. Theron blinked. Are you sure? At that moment, Theron stepped away and told the gang, This has nothing to do with me. Go ahead and take that boy's money. But the boy quickly begged, No, please help me. I'll have my older sister thank you. Theron's expression changed instantly. He turned back to the gang and said, Anyone who comes near this boy is dead. The gang suddenly attacked him, but Theron knocked them down one after another until every last one of them was completely defeated. The boy thanked him and said, My name is Go. Theron then asked, Why are they after your money? Go answered, I owe them money, so they came to take it back by force. Theron replied, Anything involving money has nothing to do with me. Come on, I'll take you home so your sister can thank me. However, Go said, By the way, my sister is married. Theron hit him on the head and said, If I had known that, I would have let them beat you. Meanwhile, Miranda was speaking with Gazus. She told him, I want you to become the new ruler. But Gazus replied, What does that have to do with me? I'm just a blacksmith. What do I know about ruling a city? Kyle thought to himself, convincing this man won't be easy. Suddenly Go entered with Theron, and it was revealed that Gazus was Go's father. Theron looked around and asked, What are all of you doing here? Kyle answered, We came here with Miranda. The man inside is a skilled blacksmith, and he might be able to make you an incredible sword. Theron immediately said, Perfect, I'll go see him. Go then told them, Wait here for a moment. While Kyle was sitting there, one of the designs caught his attention, leaving him completely shocked. Go explained, It's the design for an ancient magical weapon. I'm trying to recreate it. Kyle looked at him and said, So you're the one who creates this weapon. Go didn't understand what he meant, but Kyle already knew that Go would successfully recreate it in the future. Kyle took the design and showed it to Seldonia. She examined it and said, This is an excellent design. You've improved it a lot. Kyle thought to himself, The golem weapon will be extremely effective against the demons. He then turned to Go and said, You need to finish it as soon as possible. However, Go shocked him by replying, It'll take 10 years to complete. Kyle immediately said, No, you'll finish it in 1 year. Go answered, But I'll need a huge amount of materials. Kyle replied, That won't be a problem. He then handed him a bag filled with gold coins. Go looked inside and said, If that's the case, I'll finish it within a year. Meanwhile, Miranda failed to convince Gazus and eventually left the workshop. After that, Kyle went inside and said to Gazus, We need a powerful sword for Theron. Gazus replied, I don't make weapons for strangers. But Go immediately said, He saved me from the gang. Please make him a sword, father. Gazus then asked, What kind of sword do you want? Theron answered, I want something powerful, like Kyle's sword. Gazus took Kyle's sword and was stunned as he examined it. He then said, This is an extraordinary sword. There's no way it was forged by a human. After returning the sword, he added, I can't make anything like this. Now leave. And just like that, he threw them out of the workshop. Afterward, everyone returned to the hotel. Kyle told Seldonia, If the golem weapon is completed, it'll be a huge help in the war against the demons. She replied, Definitely. It's like a warrior enhanced with magic power. Later, Kyle met Alzard. Alzard said, Come on, Kyle. Let's have a meal together. Bring your team and the ambassador as well. Kyle answered, All right. Alzard then left, while Kyle went to get Miranda and headed there with her. However, just before entering the room, Kyle sensed that something was wrong. He rushed toward the door. The moment he opened it, he saw blood covering the entire room, and that wasn't all. Alzard's corpse was lying there, his head severed and thrown onto the floor. Someone was standing in front of the body. Who was it? It was a female demon, my friend. Everyone froze in shock. Kyle exclaimed, A demon? What are you doing here? Without warning, the demon attacked him and drove her claws into his arm. Kyle immediately struck back with a powerful magic spell that blasted her away. He then said, Did you like that spell? Come closer, and I'll show you something even stronger. At that moment, the guards rushed into the room. The demon decided to escape and jump through the window. However, her mission was already complete. She had successfully killed Alzard. Kyle looked around and said, She even killed Alzard's guards. And that wasn't all. She had carried out a complete massacre inside the palace. Meanwhile, Seldonia was sitting with Go and explaining how to build the golem weapon. Go looked at her and said, You're incredibly smart. Seldonia replied, What's even more surprising is that you've learned all of this at such a young age. You're even trying to recreate the golem weapon. Most people your age spend their time playing. Go answered, I learned a lot from my father. He also taught me blacksmithing. Lizzie then said, "That's enough. Come on, let's take a break." Everyone sat down together. Go then asked, "Where are Kyle and Urza?" Lizzie answered, "They went to meet the mage Alzard." At that point, none of them had heard about Alzard's death yet. Theron then complained, "And that old man still refuses to make me a sword." Go replied, "There's a sword called the Ran sword. It was forged 1,000 years ago, and it should still be somewhere in the city." Theron's eyes lit up. "That sounds like an amazing sword. I want it." Go answered, "You want it? It belongs to the ruler now." From the look on Theron's face, it was obvious that he was already thinking about stealing it. Suddenly, Theron sensed several people outside the house. He asked, "Go, has anyone been trying to kill you lately?" Go replied, "Yes. I borrowed money from some people for the weapon project. When they learned it wouldn't be completed for another 10 years, they decided to kill me." Theron said, "Then those must be the people outside." He drew his sword and added, "I'll go deal with them. No one follows me." Theron stepped outside, but the gang was much larger this time, and every member was carrying a dagger. The moment they opened the door, Theron unleashed a powerful strike that shattered it and knocked one of them down. He grabbed the man and said, "Come here, I'll make you wish you were dead." Then he slammed him to the ground and turned toward the rest of the gang. He warned them, "If you want to leave here alive, run." But they attacked him anyway. Meanwhile, two of them managed to enter the house, where Lizzie and Urza were waiting. Urza immediately warned her, "Be careful, Lizzie. Those daggers are poisoned." Suddenly, Lizzie rushed toward one of them and struck him. He tried to stab her with his dagger, but she managed to dodge the attack. Lizzie knocked the dagger from her opponent's hand, then struck his neck and knocked him unconscious. Meanwhile, Urza trapped the other man inside a water doll before imprisoning him in a sphere of water until he collapsed. "I thought they were stronger," Lizzie said. "We need them alive," Urza replied. "Don't worry, he's only unconscious." Just the two girls defeated the entire gang. After tying up the two men, Go said, "You really are strong." At that moment, Theron entered, dragging the gang leader behind him. He threw him to the floor and threatened, "Talk, or I'll let Lizzie deal with you. Every time you're about to die, I'll heal you and continue." Terrified, the man confessed, "We're just a gang. Someone hired us to kidnap Go." Go added, "There have been many kidnappings lately." When Theron asked what happened to the victims, the man replied, "We only deliver them to a house outside the city. We don't know anything else." Suddenly, someone appeared outside. A demon? Before anyone could react, a massive explosion destroyed the house. Everyone survived, but the entire gang was killed. Theron rushed outside but found no trace of the attacker. Who did this? No human could have caused that. Why would a demon kill them? He wondered. "He's already gone," Seldonia said. Later, everyone met Kyle and Miranda and explained everything. Miranda frowned. "The ruler may think we're responsible." Lizzie added, "A female demon attacked Kyle. She may have attacked us too." Seldonia agreed. "That kind of power could only belong to a demon," Kyle said. "We can't fight demons inside the city. We'd destroy it." Miranda then revealed her suspicions. "I think the ruler is connected to the kidnappings. I don't believe he was ever sick." Just then, someone rushed in. "The ruler's palace exploded. It's completely on fire." Kyle hurried there and found the palace destroyed. The demons did this, but Miranda noticed something. "The ruler's body is missing," she concluded. The explosion was probably part of his escape plan. At that moment, Go arrived. "The ruler summoned my father before the explosion. Now he's missing." Miranda froze before collapsing. "This is my fault. I recommended Gazus as the next ruler." Kyle suddenly remembered that, in the future, Miranda had blamed herself for her closest friend's death. Could she have meant Gazus? After returning to the hotel, Go calmly drank tea while explaining that Miranda had known his father for years. Meanwhile, Miranda remained unconscious. Kyle thought, "I have to save Gazus. If I do, the future will change." He put on his armor. "Where are you going?" Theron asked. "Back to the ruler's palace. I discovered something important." Kyle asked everyone to follow him, leaving Go behind to watch over Miranda. On the way, he explained, "I'm sure there's a secret passage beneath the palace." "There has to be," he said. "Otherwise, the ruler couldn't have escaped." Urza asked how she could help. "Summon a magical creature to search for the passage. It'll take too long, and I'll run out of magic power." Kyle handed her several mana potions. "Drink these whenever you run out. You really are insane." Urza sighed before starting. Night fell while they searched. Finally, Urza's creature found a hidden entrance. Kyle opened it. This must be their escape route. The group entered. "Stay alert," Theron warned. "There may be demons inside." "Demons are far stronger than humans in combat," Kyle replied, remembering the giant demon that had nearly killed him in the future. "But this time, I'm ready." At the end of the passage, they found a giant magic stone, a magic circle, and countless corpses. Keldonia appeared. "This is a forbidden ritual." Kyle recognized one of the bodies, the ruler's assistant. So this is where they brought all the kidnapped people. They're sacrificing humans and turning their lives into magic power, Seldonia explained. Only demons used rituals like this. Seldonia looked at the massive amount of magic power gathered there and said, if all of this accumulated magic power explodes, it will wipe out half the city. Suddenly, everyone sensed someone approaching. They quickly hid behind the rocks. A few moments later, 2 demons entered the chamber. It became clear that they were the ones responsible for all the chaos that had plagued the city recently. The male demon smiled and said, we've gathered an enormous amount of magic power. Our plan is going exactly as intended. The female demon replied, you should have let me kill all the ambassadors inside the palace. He answered, it had to be done. Ambassador Alzard was standing in our way, so we had to eliminate him before we could blow up the palace. Meanwhile, Kyle and the others remained hidden behind a large rock, listening to every word. Kyle thought to himself, it's the same female demon that escaped from me. He then added, and that demon must be the one who attacked Theron and destroyed Gazus's house. The male demon looked at his companion and said, it seems you've forgotten what our king wants. She calmly replied, I know. Without warning, the demon activated a magic spell and burned the ruler's assistant's corpse until nothing remained. After that, the 2 demons left the area. Lizzie quietly said, it looks like they never noticed us. Theron gripped his sword and said, I want to kill them right now, but we need a plan first. Seldonia then said, it seems the Demon King's plan is to reduce the city's population. She continued, he may be trying to take control of it. Kyle nodded. We'll come up with a plan. At least we've learned something important about what they're planning. He then said, let's go find the ruler and Gazus. The group continued through the underground passages until they entered another chamber. Suddenly, Lizzie pointed ahead. Gazus is over there. They immediately rushed toward him. However, a man stepped in front of them and asked, how did you get in here? It was none other than Ruler Bax. It turned out he had truly been involved in everything from the very beginning and had been cooperating with the demons all along. Kyle glared at him and said, so you've been pretending to be sick this whole time. You're nothing but a traitor. Bax replied, so you're Milena's envoys. He continued, the city of Karen will never fall under your rule, even if I have to destroy it. Kyle looked at him and said, destroy it. You've already wiped out half the city's population by working with the demons. At that moment, Gazus regained consciousness and shouted, he wants to drain the mineral vein beneath the city. In short, my friend, a massive mineral vein stretched directly beneath Karan. It was filled with gold, silver, magic stones, and countless valuable ores used to forge weapons. Bax shouted, be quiet. But Gazus refused. If the vein is completely drained, every blacksmith will leave this city. He continued, weapon production will stop, the city's economy will collapse, and the warriors will abandon it. After that, any kingdom could invade and seize the city. Bax yelled, enough! I'm trying to protect this city. Gazus answered, if you stay on that throne, you'll destroy it instead of protecting it. Bax coldly replied, I don't mind sacrificing the people, as long as the city remains strong. However, it was obvious from his appearance that his illness had become severe. Seldonia looked at him and said, you have at most 1 month left to live. Just then, the male demon stepped forward and said, I took advantage of the ruler's illness to carry out our plan. He was nothing more than a tool we used. Meanwhile, Miranda had finally regained consciousness. The moment she remembered everything that had happened, she burst into tears. Go tried to comfort her. Don't worry, I'm sure Kyle will bring my father back. At the same time, Kyle looked at the demon and asked, why did you go this far? The demon answered, for the Rand sword. He continued, that's the sword that defeated the previous demon king. Our king wants it. Kyle stared at him in disbelief. Are you kidding me? You caused all this destruction just for a sword? The demon shook his head. No, I want the sword, and I also want to destroy the city of Karan. He continued, this city produces the weapons that are most effective against us. That way, I'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. At that very moment, the female demon arrived. Kyle drew his sword and said, come here, I'll finish you myself. The male demon released his power and replied, don't overestimate yourself. However, the female demon stopped him. No, we should avoid fighting them. He answered, they know our plan now. We have to eliminate them. But Ruler Bax interrupted them. Don't leave yet. We still have to finish our agreement. Gather even more magic power, then take the Rand sword as we agreed. Kyle looked at Bax and said, you've completely lost your mind. They're demons. They've already gotten what they wanted. Why would they help you now? The demon turned toward Bax and smiled. Did you actually think we were helping you? he continued. We gathered magic power alongside you so it would eventually spiral out of control and destroy the entire city. You fool! Bax froze in horror and began screaming. Before he could do anything else, Theron struck him and knocked him unconscious. Just like that, both sides stood on the verge of battle. Then, without warning, Theron looked at Kyle and said, I'm going to check on something. I'll be right back. Kyle thought to himself, did he seriously leave me at a time like this? The male demon laughed. Looks like he abandoned you and ran away. Meanwhile, the female demon looked at Lizzie and Urza. Run away. I don't want to kill either of you. Lizzie stepped forward and replied, no, we're the ones who are going to defeat you. She immediately charged at him. The female demon sneered, you're weak. With a single powerful strike, she slammed Lizzie into the wall. She then rushed toward Urza and attacked her as well. Urza immediately summoned her fire dragon. The dragon unleashed a torrent of flames throughout the chamber. But the female demon wasn't affected in the slightest. Suddenly, the female demon shattered Urza's defenses with a powerful blow. Meanwhile, Theron stood beside the ruler, watching the battle. Seldonia asked, aren't you going to help them? Not yet, Theron replied. The important thing is that I found this stone on the ruler. What is it? Keldonia examined it. It's linked to the magic of something hidden here. Theron smashed it on the ground, and a beam of light suddenly appeared. At the same time, Kyle and the demon continued fighting. The demon mocked him. You're already getting tired, and we've only just begun. He fired several energy orbs. Kyle dodged and rushed in with his sword, but another energy orb blasted him away. Unable to continue fighting, Kyle heard the demon say, this is your end. The demon gathered a massive sphere of energy for the finishing blow. Meanwhile, Theron shattered his own sword against a pillar and finally uncovered what he had been searching for. The Ran sword. At the same time, Kyle took advantage of the demon's distraction and landed a heavy strike. Elsewhere, Urza's fire dragon engulfed the female demon in flames, while Lizzie charged at her face. The female demon barely avoided the attack. Meanwhile, Kyle knocked the demon down and cut off one of his horns. You'll pay for that horn, the demon roared. You won't get the chance, Kyle replied. You're finished. Just then, Theron arrived carrying the Ran sword. Still want this sword? Looks like I'll kill you with it. The female demon immediately said, give me that sword. Theron grinned. Let me test it on this demon first. Kyle interrupted. How about you two retreat for now? Theron frowned. Retreat? Have you lost your mind? Just relax, Kyle replied before looking at the demons. Leave now and return in 3 days. We'll fight again. If you win, you take the sword. If we win, you'll tell me everything about every demon inside the human kingdoms. I accept, the demon replied. He smashed through the wall and left with the female demon. Afterward, Kyle and his friends brought Bax and Gazus back to the city. Miranda tearfully apologized to Gazus, while Go happily reunited with his father. Kyle handed Bax over to the guards, and after examining him, the doctor said, his condition is even worse than before. Later, Kyle asked Gazus, when did you learn the truth about the kidnappings? A month ago, Gazus answered. Looking at Miranda, he added, this wasn't your fault. I confronted the ruler myself, and that's why I was kidnapped. Gazus then asked, what about the sword of Karan? Theron found it, so he'll keep it, Kyle replied. Gazus was shocked. The Ran sword is one of Karan's greatest treasures. Kyle answered, we saved your life, and Theron saved Go. I also know you're running out of mithril, so take this. Seeing the huge pile of mithril, Gazus asked, where did you get all of this? We mined it underground. With it, you can forge a sword better than the Ran sword, so we'll trade the mithril for the sword. Deal. Gazus agreed. Kyle then handed him a blueprint. I need this finished. It'll take 3 days. You only have 2. I need it before my battle with the demons. I'll do my best. Gazus immediately began working. Later, Kyle visited Lizzie and Urza. That female demon is incredibly strong, Lizzie admitted. What will we do next time? You don't have to join the next battle, Kyle replied. No, Lizzie refused. We're definitely coming, and we'll defeat them. Kyle then explained his plan to Theron. Don't join the battle from the start. If we're defeated, step in and finish them. Theron laughed. It would have been easier to kill them the first time. We need their information first, Kyle replied. Later, Kyle returned with Keldonia to the secret passage. Pointing at the giant magic stone, he said, it's about to explode from all the magic power inside. We can simply release it. Keldonia replied. Wait, can we transfer all that magic power into the Dragon Heart Stone? Keldonia nodded. It can store enough magic power to destroy an entire city, but transferring everything will take several days. Start now. Seldonia immediately began transferring the magic power into the Dragon Heart Stone. Everyone then prepared for their rematch with the demons. 3 days later, they returned to the underground passage. The demons aren't here yet, Lizzie said. Maybe they're not coming, Theron replied. Then let's have some tea while we wait. Despite the coming battle, they actually sat down and drank tea. Moments later, the two demons entered the chamber. The male demon glared at Kyle. You're drinking tea? I'll be drinking your blood instead. Kyle looked at him and said, come on, I've been waiting for you. But honestly, he should have put down his cup of tea first. Even the demons were beginning to lose their patience because of the way they were acting. The female demon shouted angrily, are you mocking us? Kyle stepped forward and said, come on, let's finish this. Then he added, but first, let's move somewhere else. This place is too narrow. The male demon replied, as you wish. Choose the place where you want to die. Kyle then led the demon away from the chamber. Meanwhile, everyone else remained behind. Theron looked at the female demon and said, if you defeat Lizzie and Urza, I'll give you this sword. She replied, agreed. I didn't want to kill you, but I'll do it for the sword. The female demon immediately released her full power. Theron simply sat back and enjoyed the show. This looks like it's going to be a fierce battle. Suddenly, the demon charged toward Lizzie at incredible speed. But when she reached her, Urza was the only one standing there. Behind her, Urza summoned her fire dragon. The dragon unleashed a massive wave of flames that covered the entire area, yet the demon remained completely unharmed. She rushed toward Urza, leaped high into the air, and came crashing down, trying to kill her. However, Urza summoned a massive stone golem to protect herself. At the same time, Lizzie attacked from the side. The demon twisted through the air and struck Lizzie, sending her flying away. She then hit the stone golem and knocked it to the ground. Caldonia looked at Theron and said, come on, we should help them. But he replied, not yet. The female demon looked at Lizzie and Urza and said, I'll kill both of you at once. She charged toward them again. However, the stone golem suddenly stood in her path once more. Lizzie kicked the golem, causing a rock to shoot toward the demon's face. The demon shattered it, but the second attack nearly struck her down. Filled with rage, she rushed toward Lizzie without paying attention to anything around her. Lizzie took advantage of her reckless charge and landed a powerful blow directly in her stomach, leaving her unable to move. Meanwhile, Kyle and the male demon reached another chamber. Kyle looked at him and said, come on, I chose this place to bury you. Back in the other battle, Lizzie continued striking the female demon from every direction. Suddenly, Urza attacked with her fire dragon. The dragon released a massive wave of flames that surrounded the demon like a blazing tornado. For a moment, it looked as though she had been killed. Theron said, that was easier than expected. We won. But Seldonia replied, the battle isn't over yet. Suddenly, the female demon emerged from the flames. This time, she was using her full power. She said, no one has ever done this to me before. She then looked at Lizzie and asked, how did you avoid my attack? Lizzie answered mockingly, because you attack like a complete idiot, charging forward without thinking. Urza said, come on, let's continue. But the demon replied, no, I surrender. Everyone was shocked. If she truly surrendered, she would have to give them all the information she had about the demons hiding among humans. However, Seldonia warned them, don't trust a demon. She may be trying to deceive you. But the female demon seemed serious. You two are stronger than me. I can't defeat you. The problem was that Lizzie and Urza had no idea how to question her or what they should ask. They were almost ready to let her leave. Theron stared at them and said, you're letting her go? Have you lost your minds? We need the information first. Honestly, it would have been better if he had questioned her himself instead of sitting there and watching. Urza then asked, how many demons are currently living among humans? The demon answered, only the two of us. We came here under direct orders from the king. She continued, there may be other demons, but they would be fugitives. I know nothing about them. Lizzie and Urza nodded. You can leave. We learned what we needed. Before leaving, the demon asked for their names. Then she introduced herself. My name is Yuliga. The next time we meet, I'll bury both of you. Remember that. But suddenly, Theron vanished from where he stood and appeared directly behind her. He said, try the sword before you leave. Then he charged at her with the Ran sword. Meanwhile, Kyle's battle against the male demon had not yet begun. The demon asked, where is my horn? Kyle held it up and replied, here it is. If you defeat me, you can have it back. The demon smiled. Then come. Kyle drew his sword and activated the strength skill. He rushed forward at insane speed. However, the demon didn't even try to dodge. Instead, he allowed Kyle's sword to pierce his arm. At that exact moment, he struck Kyle with an energy orb and blasted him away. Kyle crashed onto the ground, struggling to breathe. It had been a direct hit and could have killed him. However, the demon's arm had also been injured by Kyle's sword. The demon looked at him and said, you've changed. Have you become afraid? I promise I'll kill you slowly. He then fired several energy orbs toward Kyle. Kyle dodged most of them, but one struck his leg and knocked him to the ground. Suddenly, the demon charged toward him again. Kyle quickly jumped away. He thought to himself, he's changed since our last battle. He's become stronger. Kyle rushed forward again, avoiding every attack before leaping into the air and coming down toward the demon, trying to finish him. However, the demon activated a counter spell and fired it directly at Kyle. The attack sent Kyle flying and smashed him through the surrounding area. The demon rushed toward Kyle and shouted, "I'll end your life now." But Kyle grabbed the demon's horn and said, "If you come any closer, I'll break this horn." To understand why the demon cared so much about it, my friend, horns were symbols of strength and honor among demons. When Kyle cut off one of his horns and kept it, it became a mark of shame. After all, how could a demon allow a human to take his horn? Kyle warned him, "If you attack me again, you'll never see this horn again." The demon replied, "I want the horn, but that doesn't mean I'll sacrifice my life for it." Kyle smiled. "Then take it." He threw the horn into the air. The moment the demon looked up, Kyle rushed straight toward him. With one powerful strike, he drove his sword into the demon's stomach until the blade came out through the other side. But the demon only laughed. "Is that all you've got?" Kyle replied. "No, take this too." Suddenly the wall behind them collapsed. Both of them fell into a massive chamber filled with molten lava. If either of them fell directly into it, nothing would remain. Kyle charged toward the demon, but the demon caught him off guard. He fired a powerful energy orb that blasted Kyle away. This time, Kyle could no longer move. Even his sword slipped from his hand. The demon looked down at him and said, "This is your end." Kyle answered, "Not yet." He pulled a bottle from his bag and threw it at the demon. A thick, sticky substance spilled all over him. The demon tried to move, but he couldn't. "What is this?" Kyle replied. "It's an extremely powerful adhesive." He then grabbed a chain made from volcanic material and wrapped it around the demon's body. The chain began burning into his flesh. He could no longer move, and his screams filled the chamber as the pain grew worse. Kyle warned him, "Don't bother trying to break it. Gazus made it." He stepped closer and said, "You lost. Now you're going to tell me everything." The demon finally answered, "Queen Ruiza, the daughter of the former king, doesn't want a war right now." He continued, "She only sent us here to gather information." Kyle was surprised. Queen Ruiza doesn't want war? He then thought to himself, that means there's a conflict inside the demon kingdom. Someone else may seize the throne and start the war. But the demon replied, "That's impossible. No one could ever take the throne from her. Her power has no limits." Kyle then asked, "Is there a massive hornless demon trying to take the throne? Answer me honestly." Kyle was referring to the demon king he had defeated in the future. However, the demon answered, "No. Horns are the pride of every demon. Any demon without horns would be considered a disgrace among us." Kyle thought, so he hasn't appeared yet. The demon had no idea what Kyle meant. Kyle raised his sword and said, "Goodbye." The demon panicked. "No, don't kill me." Then he quickly added, "I can arrange a meeting between you and Queen Ruiza." Kyle replied, "Fine. I already want to meet her." However, the demon thought to himself, "You fool." Suddenly, a strange creature appeared behind Kyle. The demon shouted, "Kill him," but the creature couldn't even get close. Kyle turned around instantly and split it in half with a single slash. He then looked back at the demon and said, "That was your final chance to survive, and you wasted it." The demon stared at him in disbelief. "How did you know about my monster?" Kyle answered, "Because we've met before." "Garnius." The demon froze. "When did we meet? And how do you know my name?" Kyle walked closer and said, "Your loyalty to the king was absolute. You and the others were the ones who destroyed every kingdom." Garnius understood nothing. He asked, "Who exactly are you?" Kyle simply replied, "Goodbye." He delivered a powerful kick that sent Garnius falling into the sea of lava. The molten lava began consuming his body as he screamed in agony. Kyle looked down at him and said, "Before I traveled back through time, you killed many of my friends." He continued, "You deserve this ending." As the lava surrounded him from every direction, Kyle added, "But whether you die or not will depend on your own strength. The chain holding you will melt after 12 hours. If you can survive until then, you may be able to escape." Kyle was humiliating him completely. Garnius screamed, "You'll pay for this. The queen won't let you get away with it." But the demon couldn't endure any longer. He sank beneath the lava. Kyle left the chamber. With that, he had eliminated an important demon who would have become one of the causes of the destruction in the future. After some time, everything returned to normal. Later, Kyle and Theron were training together. Kyle said, "You've mastered that sword." Theron replied, "I want to use this sword to wipe out every demon." Kyle answered, "And we will. We won't allow them to take control of the kingdoms." Theron laughed. "What kingdoms? Are you dreaming or something?" But Kyle thought to himself, why didn't Theron kill the female demon during the last battle? Why did he let her escape? At that moment, Lizzie and Urza arrived. Kyle asked them, what brought you here? Lizzie replied, don't worry. We've recovered from our injuries and we want to return to training. Kyle nodded. Good, it looks like you've both become stronger. At least you managed to defeat the female demon. After that, Kyle took Seldonia and headed to Gazus's house. Go welcome them and stayed with Seldonia. Meanwhile, Kyle went inside to speak with Gazus. Gazus said, I heard you're leaving tomorrow. He then added, I want to give you a gift before you go. He handed Kyle 2 sword sheaths that he had made himself. One was for Kyle's sword, and the other was for Theron's. Kyle thanked Gazus, but Gazus replied, you saved my life. This is the least I can do to repay you. Meanwhile, Go asked Seldonia, is it true that you're leaving tomorrow? She answered, yes, we've already stayed here for a long time. Go then said, I want you to stay with us. I still want to learn more from you. However, Seldonia replied, I have to leave with them but will definitely return. She then added, I'm sure you'll complete the golem weapon. When you do, we'll come back for it. At that moment, Kyle arrived and said to Go, I'm counting on you to build that weapon. Go answered, of course, I've already started working on it. After that, Kyle said goodbye and left. He then went to see Miranda. She told him, Ruler Bax died yesterday. Before his death, he confessed the entire truth, including everything about the kidnappings that had been happening throughout the city. She continued, but there's still one problem. The female demon carried out a massacre when she killed the envoys from Gargan. The kingdom of Gargan will hold the city of Karan responsible for what happened. Kyle replied, I'll leave that matter to you. You need to explain the truth to the kingdom of Gargan. Miranda then informed him that Gazus had become the city's new ruler. Kyle was surprised. How did that happen? I was with him just a short while ago, and he was still working inside his workshop. Miranda answered, that was his condition. He agreed to become the ruler, but he'll continue working at his forge. Kyle laughed. That man really is strange. Miranda replied, that's simply how he is. Kyle then said something that completely shocked her. First, you became close to Gazus. Then you made an agreement with the gang to lend Go, Gazus's son, the money he needed to continue working on his weapon. He continued. After that, you took advantage of the moment Theron rescued Go from the gang, so you could get even closer to Gazus. You kept manipulating events until Gazus became the ruler of the city. And you did all of that, so you could become the true ruler from behind the scenes. My friend, this meant that everything that had happened to Go and Gazus had been part of Miranda's plan. She truly had a dangerous mind. Miranda looked at Kyle and said, your ability to analyze people is frightening, but do you have any proof of what you're saying? Kyle answered, unfortunately no. If I had proof, I would have thrown you into prison a long time ago. Miranda replied, then I'll treat all of that as nothing more than speculation. Kyle then said, all I want from you now is to protect Go and make sure no one learns anything about the weapon he's building. She answered, of course, no one will hear anything about it. That weapon will be extremely useful to us. The following morning, Kyle and his companions left the city and continued their journey. Kyle said, we're heading to the kingdom of Zergos to report everything that happened. Urza replied, I don't think the kingdom of Gargan will ignore the deaths of its envoys. The war between Gargan and Zergos may begin again. Kyle answered, we have to solve these problems quickly. He then added, the demons could attack at any moment. If war breaks out between the kingdoms, it will give them the perfect opportunity to wipe us out. Meanwhile, Queen Milena received news that 3 kings had gathered in the capital city of Rost. It seemed they were planning a major conspiracy against her. Milena immediately sent Commander August and Kilrin on a mission. Elsewhere, inside Kyle's home, his mother thought to herself, I wonder how Kyle and the others are doing. At that moment, Layla came to see her. Kyle's mother asked, are you leaving on a mission? Layla replied, yes, I have a mission, and I may be away for some time. If I see Kyle, I'll give him your regards. She then left. During Kyle's journey, the group encountered Queen Milena's envoys. Their mission was to escort Kyle to the ruler's meeting in the capital so he could help settle the dispute between the kingdom of Gargan and the kingdom of Zergos. Kyle had now become a national hero, and his words carried real influence among the kingdoms. The commander told him, if we fail to solve this problem, war will break out between the 2 kingdoms. This poor guy couldn't escape one crisis without immediately being dragged into another. Eventually, they reached the borders of Rost. Lizzie pointed ahead and said, I can see the capital from here. Theron immediately said, I want to eat as soon as we arrive. As always, my friend, the only thing on his mind was food. Meanwhile, Kyle said, I'm going to sit down with the king of Gargan. He could hardly believe how far he had come. Not long ago, he had been wondering how he could become a hero. Now, he had been summoned to settle conflicts between entire kingdoms. As they entered the capital, the three kings were already speaking together. They found it difficult to believe that a demon had appeared and killed the envoys. They were preparing to launch a war against the kingdom of Zergos and the city of Karan. However, King Miser said, "Calm down. I heard that a hero managed to defeat those demons, and he's on his way here." He continued, "We'll learn the full truth from him. If it turns out that the envoys' deaths were part of a plan created by Milena, we'll begin the war and destroy them." After that, Kyle and his companions arrived in the capital, and Kyle explained everything that had happened to the kings. Later, a grand celebration was held to mark the return of peace. All of Kyle's companions joined the celebration, but Kyle became bored and stepped outside to sit alone for a while. Suddenly, King Miser approached him and said, "I want something from you, but if you refuse, I'll kill you." Kyle was stunned and had no idea what the king wanted. Miser then said, "You truly possess enormous power. I want you to become my ally and join us. But if you refuse, you die." Meanwhile, Euliga was reporting everything that had happened to the Demon Queen, including the death of Garnius. She then told the queen, "We should begin the war against the humans, and this would become the beginning of the destruction." And that's the end of part 1 of Kyle's story. So what will happen next? Will Kyle join King Miser, or will he continue preparing for the coming war against the demons? Will the demons succeed in conquering the world, or will Kyle finally manage to stop them this time? You'll find out all that and much more in part 2 of Kyle's story. See you in the next video. Goodbye.